Hello everybody, my name is Austin Perez, and this is my presentation on the Dwight D. Eisenhower Memorial in Washington, D.C. A short description of the project. The Dwight D. Eisenhower Memorial is located at the base of Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. It was completed and dedicated in September of 2020 at a finished cost of $145 million. The memorial features three groups of statues showing different phases of Eisenhower's life, a one-of-a-kind steel mesh tapestry featuring images of Normandy, inscriptions and quotes of Eisenhower, as well as a store and a visitor center that is operated by the U.S. National Park Service. A few interesting facts about the project before we get into the meat of the presentation. While commissioning started, some say as early as 97 or 1999, a design competition was not held until the year 2006, which ultimately Frank Gehry won. Another fact is, of course, with anything in Washington, D.C., received tons of criticism from parties opposed to spending the money on what they felt was an unnecessary memorial. One thing I found interesting was the government of Taiwan actually donated $1 million towards the memorial and its construction during the funding phase. And lastly, this was the first memorial to have an accompanying e-memorial, which was both video presentations that helped augment things in Eisenhower's life and presidency from the war, racial desegregation, and other events that were significant to his life. Some information on the construction of the project. The client was the Eisenhower Memorial Commission in partnership with the U.S. General Services Administration. Commissioning for this memorial actually began in the year 97. The design team was the Gehry Partners, as well as ACOM. ACOM, I'm sure a number of us are familiar with, as they do projects across the country. The delivery method for this project was construction manager at risk. The CM was the Clark Construction Group in partnership with their concrete company called Clark Concrete. This is according to their website. There was a ton of concrete work on this, as a lot of the pillars were precast concrete, as well as various sidewalk areas. A couple of awards that they won was the 2020 ABC of Metro Washington Excellence in Construction Award for institutions, as well as the 2020 ENR Mid-Atlantic Best Project Award for cultural and worship centers. Additional information on the actual construction for materials and features that aren't necessarily relevant to the LEED certification can be found on Clark's website, as well as the Gehry Partners website. The U.S. Green Building Council states that the Eisenhower Memorial was last certified on February 3, 2021, with a certification level of gold, and receiving a total of 61 points. You can see the scorecard on this slide. Sustainable sites, they received a score of 19 out of 26. Water efficiency, which was a contributing factor to the gold certification, they received an 8 out of 10. Energy and atmosphere, they received a 9 out of 35. That was kind of expected when I was doing this research, because it is mainly an outdoor attraction that is not used as an office building or a hotel or something like that. Most of the people do remain outside, so there's not a lot of material they could have used to contribute to that. Material and resources, they received a score of 6 out of 14. Indoor environmental quality, 11 out of 15. Innovation was 6 out of 6. And regional priority credits, they received a score of 2 out of 4. As I stated on the previous slide, water efficiency was a great contributing factor into receiving a gold certification. This project has a 97,000 gallon cistern that collects rainwater as well as HVAC condensation. They use this water for both the irrigation as well as flushable water for the visitor center, for bathrooms and sinks. Other factors, they diverted 92% of their waste from landfills. Building material, 14% of it had recycled content, and 27% was locally sourced. The walkability score is a giant factor in this project because A, it is a memorial in Capitol Hill. And anybody that's been to Capitol Hill, you're usually walking back and forth from area to area. So what they did is they made it so you couldn't actually park there. So if you were going to arrive to the Memorial Center, you had to walk. So clearly you're not contributing to any greenhouse gases from car exhaust because there's no cars there. They want you walking from point A to point B. The main reason I think this project is significant and contributes to the green building movement is because it is indeed another national monument in our nation's capital. Much like the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument, people are coming from all over the country just to see these attractions and be in our nation's capital. This is another monument that helps to highlight the accomplishments of our country and another one of our presidents. If done right, this can also highlight the green building movement. A lot of these monuments that were built before, this wasn't a process that was undertaken. It wasn't something that was taken seriously, and clearly this project did take green building and LEED certification seriously. The building of a 97,000 gallon cistern just to have the water be flushable is a step that wasn't really necessary, but clearly they thought it was important or they wouldn't have done it. And according to Frank Gehry, the architect, this project was built in a way that it's not bombastic, it's quiet, meaning that it's classy, it's not a, hey, look at me, outlandish structure. In conclusion, this is a beautiful project and memorial in our nation's capital with water conservation and reuse at the center of attention. Walkability, which is another factor in our nation's capital and anybody that's been to the National Mall area. And also this project brings a lot of attention to both the memorial in Eisenhower, but as well as to the green building environment between its location, its purpose, and the unique artwork that is one of a kind. Pictured to the right, you'll see some of the artists that worked on the project. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and have a good day.